Hey, my name is Jacky Nishimwe. I'm a finalist journalism student in Mount Kenya University. I've done a research about the power of radio and television in fighting against drug abuse among teenagers. In that research, I talked to different people who are experienced in media and journalism in general in order to get information which respond to questions which pushed me to conduct that research. At first, they explained the contribution of TV and radio production in fighting drug abuse among teenagers in Rwanda. This is Alphonse Mohide Munena, an experienced journalist, the chief editor, program manager of Isango Star Radio and TV.
Actually, what we are doing, like journalists, we are trying sometimes when the police discover where drugs are being sold, and so we go there for the coverage. And sometimes, it's a kind of, particularly in Rwanda, sometimes police are parading people, the ones who have been caught red-handed, is that English? Red-handed, the people who were caught selling or using drugs. Sometimes at the police stations, they are parading them, they call us, we go there. Try to make some coverages. We call even experts in health. We produce shows and be it on TV or radio. Then we try to produce magazines and programs oriented or related to those kind of impact of using drugs. Then really people, even the youth, are getting educated to the kind of impact those drug abuse and or selling may have on their future or personal health.
The contribution of the broadcast media, TV, both TV and radio, in fighting drug abuse amongst the teenagers is mainly about what they do. Because when you talk about radio, when you talk about TV, you talk about shows, you talk about news, anything that can lead the audience to collect enough information. So the main contribution I think radio and TV may do or have to do and do till today is producing those programs that are related to teach people the impact that drug abuse have on their lives, or about their health, about their social behaviors, or about how they behave in the public, or what it may lead them to do when they abuse drugs. So the main contribution is about those shows, is about reporting those drug abuses, because if you don't report, then the authorities can't get everywhere, because sometimes as journalists we get to know some information that other people are not able to know, or the big public are not aware of until we publish them. So it's mainly about us, about informing and producing those shows that are related to drug abuses and how to fight this. Yeah.
To fight against everything in the society, you must talk to people. You want to change their behavior. When you want to fight against drugs in youth, in each society, you have to use a way or a channel which will reach your target audience. Here, I want to mean when you want to talk to the youth, you use the channel or the way they love the most. Today, youth love the media, especially radio, TV, newspapers, because it's where they get what they want, is where they get the knowledge of Eastern countries, because a big number of youth want to behave like Europeans or Westerners. So on that point, when you want to fight against drugs in the youth, you can use radio, you can use TV, you can use newspaper, you can use internet, because that's the way that's the way you will reach the youth. The message you want to pass, the experts you want to use to convince that youth, they will use the media, they will use the TV, they will use internet to talk to those guys, to talk to youth.
The main challenge up to date is, it's not that easy to find a certain radio or a TV that may try to talk about these drug abuses when it's not included or it's not part of a government program, So you may report about it. Maybe if the police has caught or has collected a certain amount of drugs, or they have caught people, or because a certain group of people abusing drugs are causing trouble in a certain area. So the main challenges is that it's less, or you find less people trying to do that for their own initiatives. Unless it's a serious issue that's affecting a certain community, you find that most of the times they wait for the government to initiate it and then they follow it instead of coming from their own initiative. That's the main challenge, and that's the main problem I see. Yeah.
What are the challenges radio and TV face in fighting against drug abuse among teenagers?
Those kind of drug abuse and or selling, the traffic of those kind of products are really criminal in Rwanda. Then it is really hard to find where people are, like even when people, journalists are trying to conduct things like investigative stories about that. Most of the time it is really hard. You meet people high on drugs, but you don't know really where they are finding them from. It is always hard. Or to meet even people who will admit that they are using them, but in society sometimes working hand in hand with local authorities. Sometimes they call journalists and show them what is being happening, in the society. Then it is really hard because first it is a kind of criminal practices. So where people are trying to do that they hide themselves, themselves. So it is hard for sure. But whenever we find a kind of story oriented in that on that matter, we are really committed to cover those kind of stories, and people are trying to change from our coverages.
According to you, what are the challenges radio and TV face in fighting drug abuse among teenagers?
Where people who are working to those media are not experts in drugs, and they are not even expert, or they have not enough knowledge on the way to to sensitize people about any topic. The challenge is that nowadays Rwandan media, people who are working in the media, they are young, youth, people who can be part of those guys who take drugs. That's the big challenge. If there were some people like old people or experts who are working in the media, who are focusing their work on sensitizing, on teaching, on mobilizing people against drug, that would be a very good way to fight against drug in youth in Rwanda especially.
According to you, what radio and TV should do to fight drug abuse among teenagers, which has never been done before?
I think people working in the media or media houses should take focus. Like in Rwanda, you cannot find a radio or a TV which has taken a focus of working on youth issues. Like an example, if we had a TV which is for youth, only for youth, that would be good, because that radio would not do anything apart from sensitizing, apart from teaching youth, apart from talking about drugs, apart from talking about job search, apart from talking about the way to behave, the good way to behave. I think because Rwandan media is business oriented, that's the big challenge. That's the big challenge, because people who want to make money, they will not use their time to talk about drugs which will not sell.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
So, according to you, as an experienced journalist, what do you think radio and TV should do to fight drug abuse among teenagers, which has never been done before?
What can be done which has never been done before? Or here in Rwanda, we have an association, a journalist association against for prevention, for HIV prevention and fighting. But so far, I think, most of private and individual-owned media, we are private and commercial. Those kind of stories, apart from changing society behavior, they don't really sell. They don't really sell. So sometimes people or journalists feel like they are not really interested because they don't sell. But again, what was not done so far, maybe journalists should, or even the government should think about working with more with the media, and maybe establish a kind of a club or an association for journalists fighting against those kind of drug abuse and selling.
Thank you. What radio and TV should do to fight drug abuse among teenagers, which has never been done before?
I don't think there's nothing that has never been done. I think the main thing to do is actually to emphasize on what's already there. It's to produce more shows. It's to report more. It's to create even those programs that are not inciting people to abuse drugs. People may abuse drugs because they saw it on TV, they saw it on a video clip, and they think it's cool. And the TV or the broadcast media is in charge, or has to be responsible on the content they are putting out. Because when you put a certain content, people, especially teenagers, are easily, they easily get into anything. They are easily dragged into so many things. So when you put a video clip or a movie and it's all about drug abuses, and you don't see the negative impact, you only see the cool side of that. So that's how people get affected, and they start to use it. So the main thing I think the local TVs should do is to monitor what they put outside, because sometimes they just put everything. especially when it comes to TV, and then you realize that people are getting affected because they think it's cool. Yeah.
According to what I've been told by experienced people and the research I've done, the power of TV and radio production in fighting against drug abuse among teenagers is strong. Even though there are some challenges and things that should be done, that power is strong.